All right, folks, enough of a tease. This is what was in the package sent by my friend Max in the Netherlands. Thank you so much, dude, for sending me this thing. I've been lusting after one of these for quite a while, and just well, yeah, they were just a bit too pricey for me. You can see it's seen better days, but anyway. What this is Philips MSX2. This is the 8250 model, the new media systems line of MSX, and this is sort of a, I don't know, PC desktop type of format. You'd have your separate keyboard here and your monitor, which I have one of those. I have two of these. I have three, in fact, new media system monitors. So it'll be perfect for this this setup that sits right on top here. Is this sturdy enough? Yes, it should be. Anyway, that's what it's for. So, but this thing has seen better days, as you've seen already. So, as far as I understand, it works, but the faceplate here is all busted and brittle, and there's a large crack here. There's a massive gouge here. There's a piece missing. It's over there. I have it in a little bag. All the tabs are pretty much broken. There's a massive gouge here. So we're going to see if we can fix this, maybe put it back together, glue it, or more than likely combination of glue and using a soldering iron just to melt the plastic on the other side, and use little strips of maybe little metal bars or something just to reinforce that plastic. So the trick here, because it's quite thin, yeah, it should be okay, but it's not super thick plastic, is going to be very gentle in trying to fix this. I think the most important part is trying to see if we can put the tabs back on and secure them back on this plate. But otherwise, I believe it should work. There's a floppy drive, and there's a GoTech that has been installed previously. This model is interesting. The cartridge ports are on the side, and I don't want to move this too much yet, but connectivity wise, at the back we got the joystick ports, we got the tape here, we've got the TV tuner. We won't be using that. We got some video audio signals. We won't be using those either. We'll be using a SCART directly. Very handy to have a SCART out on those machines. Why not? European stuff. We've got the keyboard connector and the printer port. So yeah, quite well, enough stuff for us to play around. Really, this is what we're going to use for video. The keyboard we have here and joystick ports. We'll see if I have a joystick. I might be able to. I think I have a few of these over there. Philips, or can I do this? Philips joysticks that were used for the video pack. Anyway, I have a Koenig's as well. But we'll try to keep this theme and on brand. But anyway, so before I even start it, I don't want to mess around. I'm going to take this apart, because I think I have to take this stuff apart to access those tabs and remove them from over here, something like that. Yeah, so yeah, every single tab is broken here. Look at that. This is and there's a little bit missing here, but I heard some rattling when I moved it, so maybe that bit is inside. We'll see. If not, we'll have to live with it. We're going to restore it as best we can. This thing looks really slick. I really love the look of those Philips new media system MSX that they released. There's something professional and, how could I put it, European about it. So there you go. It does look like almost a CDI in a way. Anyway, folks, let's take this thing apart and get started. Also, actually, before I continue, one of the reasons why I wanted this is not just because they look dead cool, and they were sort of the top of the line of MSX2s that you could get at the time, at least in Europe, but it's also because this can rather easily be upgraded to an MSX2 Plus and run at 60 Hertz instead of 50. And as an MSX2 Plus, all we really need to do There's a few things we need to, but really the most important one is change the VDP and put an MSX2 Plus VDP. So pending on whether I can find one, but we'll do that as well here if I can source one. But it's a rather easy thing to do. You just swap, remove the old one, put a socket, put the new one in, and you can also do stuff with the F4 register just so you can. A lot of people like to do that. I don't plan on using the MSX2 Plus Basic, which was it Basic 3 or something like that. I get confused with all this, so I don't think we need to do that mod, or that I need to do that mod. But the VDP, certainly, if I want to play games on this, it's really what it's going to be used for in the future. Really, just maybe mess around with some media application, but it's going to be all the MSX2 stuff that I use anyway. So yeah, let's get started. Right, so I've sort of put everything back in place as best as I could. Come on, phone, work with me. And what I'm doing now is I'm actually using and melting, instead of melting the plastic, I'm melting sort of staples where the cracks are. What I'm doing, I'm using little bits of metal bars, little component legs that are rigid enough, but essentially by just heating them up a little bit, we can meld them into the plastic. And what this does, it actually works like a staple, and you can work the plastic to cover it slightly as well. But because we're heating the metal, the plastic will melt around it and just reseal it back properly. So I'm doing that. Doesn't look great here, but it'll make things a lot sturdier. You can see here there's some scuffs and all that, so we might need to well, first clean it up and see if we can color match it. I doubt it. It's got a very come on focus, it's got a very sort of a metallic paint on with little specks. It's going to be really tough to match, but I'll try. I have a few ideas for something. Maybe an old automotive type of spray might work. So what I've done for the staples, I've used staples where needed. There's one across here, there's one here, and then I filled the gaps with super glue. There's a little bridge here, just replacing the missing plastic here, and it's melted into this. Because of the way this guy was, there's a staple running across and another reinforcing one over here. This little piece here, we've put a staple in as well, and I have about 4 here. And the other one that was tricky, I wasn't sure how to work it, was this guy. So what I've done is I have a staple going across, where is it? Huh. Where, yeah. I have a staple going across those 2 pieces like that, and then I've bent a piece of metal at a right angle and just done that. So I might do another one over there just for good measure, but it should make everything a lot sturdier and less prone to breaking. And still have to be very careful, but it's going to be solid enough to handle now. The only one thing here is this little bit is missing, and there's a corner here that's entirely missing, so I might need to redo those. A little bit of fiberglass, epoxy and fiberglass. We'll see. I'm not sure exactly what the best way to approach this, but yeah, I mean, I can actually handle it now, and you know, before that it would crumble in my hand. So it's looking, well, it's looking better than broken. It's looking like it was broken and been put back together. But see if we can maybe match some of the paint here and make things a little bit more acceptable. I don't know, needs a clean as well. Alright, a quick update on this. So the whole thing is back together now, solid, but as you've seen in the previous segment, the difference here is I've patched the corner here. There's this little guy that was missing a piece, and this corner here was just wasn't looking too great. So I've actually found an automotive paint that would match here, and I've used Isopon here, by the way, filler. So this doesn't look the best. It's nice and smooth though, so it should clean up really nice. And I know in the past I said I don't like battle marks. This is a bit too many battle marks here in this case. So I think I'm going to try my best to at least cover some of these. And I found a similar paint that has that sort of metallic specks. It's the Renault 630. This is allegedly the paint that you need to have. Sorry, the Renault should be Renault, like the car 630. This is a touch-up one, so it comes with a little brush inside and a spare one like that, and you just apply. It's like a nail varnish type of stuff. Anyway, I tried this for a bit and this doesn't work. This just doesn't work, and worse than that, it just makes things worse. What I've done is I've tried to apply it in some of the black affected areas, and it's a bit too clumpy. You can't really work it into a thin coat. And then I tried to sand it down slightly up to using a wet sand with a 2000 grit, and it didn't stick, didn't quite work, and I can't get it to look any nice. The paint is noticeably darker. You can see it here, the remains on that area. It kind of looks a little bit better, but I think, to be honest, I mean, it looks dirty. I think it looks dirty, and I'm not happy with it at all. This section was where I did the Isopon Bondo patch. You can see the light color here, but you can see it over the black. It looks dirty and messy, and it's tacky as well to sand. It makes a mess. It gets really clumpy sanding, even if I wait 24 hours to dry. And then I try to clean it with isopropyl alcohol, and it just rubs off right away with isopropyl alcohol. So whatever solution this is, not suitable. You'll need a clear coat over it just to protect it, but then you'll need a clear coat over everything. But like I said, it's just clumpy. It doesn't match. So I think it's just easier to actually well, it was easier to remove it and just let the damage shine through. I actually sanded it a little bit further to make everything a little smoother, but I think I'm gonna have to compromise here and just agree that this doesn't quite work for this, and be happy that I have something in one piece as opposed to, what was it, 4 or 5 pieces, and I was able to remake corners and entire sections here. So for stuff like that on the side, not too noticeable, but for the front, yeah. If somebody has a solution, let me know. But I think at this stage, I'll be just happy to keep the original screen print at this stage. All right, so this is our machine here. We got our Gotek, additional Gotek, and the drive here. Oh, I see something I missed. A little tab here. Oh my God, this front plate isn't finished. There's an extra tab here that and that's where it went. Oh, I see. That's where it's supposed to go. Okay. Okay, let me take this out. But before I do this, this is what's inside here. So we got our power supply here. We've got the video and possibly audio amplification board. No, it's all video. It looks. Maybe this is audio here. With the SCART and the RF out and the component. Composite. We've got our Gotek drive. A card port is on this side. Interesting, it's a connector going to the double car port. And at the bottom of here, which is what we want to access, it's all underneath here. Is there a little some kind of a button here? Interesting. Anyway, so our VDP should be on that board. I suspect the VDP is this guy actually, with the heatsink on top and the tiny little many legs. Yes, so this is a guy we're gonna have to access and replace. One of those oh, weird cap. Might be worth doing a recap on this guy as well. I'm told it works anyway, so we're gonna try it first. But this is one, so it's quite a compact setup. Drives, cartridges, power supply, video, and our main MSX PCB. Cool. Alright, so let's move this video forward a little bit. I got the MSX2 here plugged in, connected. Alright, let's move things forward a little bit. I got the MSX2 plugged in. Everything is connected. The SCART is connected to the monitor. Keyboard connected. Let's see. Oh, yeah, we got activity. And we got the MSX logo. I heard a drive try to, it's lighting up, do something as it should. And it's booting to basic 2.1. So that's working fine. Cool. Hello. Keyboard is working. So, okay. Visually, oh, okay. This isn't working. The power LED should be working. Where is it connected to? So we're gonna have to have a look at that. Maybe the LED is gone. Is it getting powered? Is the wire, that can happen, gone as well? Got a reset button. That does nothing. Where's that? Oh, that's actually loose. Look at that. It's stuck here and it's loose, so it's just there for show. Okay, we're gonna have to fix those two then. Is the drive working? Is the drive working? I don't know what I should do with these files. So, Club MSX, as far as I know, from what my friend told me, was a Brazilian, or is a Brazilian magazine that does floppy disks. Or was, or yeah, if anybody knows more about Club MSX, I actually don't know much about the Brazilian scene on the MSX. I keep thinking it's the Amiga that the drive is going to register. So here we're going to type files, which is the, okay, engaging. I hear, oh, disk offline. Is it because we have a bad disk? Should we, is it a bootable disk? Could be that as well. So the disk, yeah, it's doing stuff. It's trying to, oh no, it's going straight into, so the disk, well actually no, it's not able to read the disk. It's detected there's a disk in it, it tries to boot from the disk. Nothing happens. I wonder if, let me grab a disk that I know boots. Alright, I got my collection of Infogram floppies for MSX2 here. They should all boot into, straight into the game. So let's just power this, see if anything happens. We get the MSX logo showing up. Can I do a dual? Okay, we got the seek disk. Okay, I think there's a problem with the disk drive then. We're gonna have to have a look at the head and the possibly the belt. The belt is usually what it wears in those guys, but give that a clean first. There might be some stuff clogged up and you know, that kind of stuff. I'm guessing the reason there's a floppy here or Gotek was because the drive was indeed not working, and sometimes it's just easier to put in a Gotek, especially if you don't really have this. I do have a healthy MSX collection and more. I have a few floppies. I have a few boxes of floppies. So anyway, we know here these floppies aren't working. I also have my old. I really like this display, but it makes it tricky with one end. I have my old floppies from back then, MSX1 and 2 demos and games. Really cool. And I have the old original that came with the VG8235 computer. I have all these floppies still, and I think they should still work. But for now, we won't know for sure because this drive isn't working. What else? So this drive not working, and we got the VDP upgrade to do as well. Is the card port working? Let me put a card in. So it should fire up in any of the ports here. So we get the MSX should go straight into the game. Yeah, okay, the card port is working. Oh, 50 hertz music. All right, awesome stuff. Partial success. You know, to play games, this would be just enough. It would be plenty, and I would be happy with that as it is. We're still going to try. I'm going to try and, well, reconnect this guy, see what's wrong with the power LED, and see if I can fix the drive, and then we'll worry about the VDP. All right, that's one mystery partially solved. So interestingly, the LED was plugged onto this connector here, which is well, let me show you what we have. Let me disconnect here. So the LED was plugged on this. There's little letters on these guys. Yeah, there you go. AA and oops, where are you? Ah, there it is. And this one has MZ. It's upside down. But if you look at the connector here, it says MZ and AA is over there. That means that whatever happened, whoever it was, I'm not blaming anybody, but I had reconnected this thing wrong. So the reset connector is here, and the connector for the LED is here. So let's just see if this works now. Let's power this on. There you go. There you go. We got LED, and let's just press reset. Yes, so now we got a working reset button. So next is to tackle that drive here and just maybe give it a clean and see if we can get a disk to boot. The issue might also be my disks are not good, but we should be able to read even from the files on the disk, or at least get an error, not just disk is offline. So let's just take this apart, clean it, and see what we've got. I'm glad this sorted. A simple fix. After the front panel debacle, it's nice to get an easy win here. All right, so we got our VDP removed, and I put a fresh socket in here. Those ICs can be pretty tricky to remove. I have the IC here. Let me take this out here. The legs are so tiny, well, so tiny for through hole stuff, but there's quite a lot, and the holes are small, and there's a lot of legs. It's easy for solder to get stuck, so it was a case of using desoldering braid and the desolder pump as well, and even that took a bit of work, but it's now clean, it's tidy. Socket is in, and I'm just waiting now for a new VDP. So we're gonna have to just ground a few pins and put a few others to 5 volt. I think 4 and 27 and 1 have to be grounded. So we'll probably tap ground on the other side of the board to one of these. There's a few ICs here that aren't populated, so this should here should be ground, or ground here, and 5 volt should be here and here as well. There might be a few closer points. I'll try to make the jumpers are as small as possible lengthwise, and there's also a couple of resistors I think here that have to be lifted, so we'll do that as well. There's a couple of other updates we can do, just upgrading the RAM here, and doing the F register to allow to put the MSX2 Plus Basic. Is it 3.0, something like that? I'm not really gonna bother with that. This is just going to be an entertainment device. I just wanted to play to go be at 60 hertz and play some MSX2 Plus games and a few other perks. But I'm going to keep it as simple as possible for this mod. Anyway, I just need the VDP to arrive soon. Alright, so I've got the mod done. I'm putting the motherboard and the video board back together in here just to test that it's working indeed okay. I should clarify though, what this mod will do, it will convert your MSX2 to an MSX2 Plus. However, that MSX2 Plus will still run at 60 hertz. The reason is that change has to be done in one of the ROMs. I can't remember which one. These are the three ROMs. There's like a main ROM. I think this is the main ROM here. No, this is the main ROM. And then we got sub ROM and the character ROM or whatever it is. Anyway, so the change has to be done in the sub ROM, I think, where you need to tell the computer to switch to 60 hertz. Now, that should be an easy enough modifications, but then you need to enable stuff like the F4 register latch and things like that, and it gets a bit complicated and convoluted, involving other ICs, LSO2s, and a ton of little more of these guys, which makes the whole thing a bit unsightly. And to be honest, I have an MSX2 Plus Japanese version that's been adapted for UK power. So if I really want to play games at 60 hertz, I can use that. So I'm not going to do the mod for 60 hertz, at least yet. Maybe down the line when I feel a bit more brave. Right now, I just want to enjoy this machine and see if I can get a few discs and games to run on this. So let's close this, put the video board back on, and see if everything is still working fine, and then we can just take care maybe of our drive. I think it just needs, I'm just going to open it and clean it, lubricate the parts. There's no belts in this. I think it's just a motor or independent motor, so there's no belt to change or anything like that. So just a bit of a lubrication should do the trick, and see if we can play a few discs. I'm just soaking the keys. I've removed all the keys from the keyboard and just soaking them in just washing up liquid, washing up liquid and water, and I just brush them as well later on. And I've also cleaned the front panel. This thing was actually fairly crusty. There was a layer of grime on it that I just couldn't get off with alcohol, and I thought, it'd be easier to remove everything. There's quite a lot of dust on this as well, and I didn't bother removing. I removed the enter key. You can see these tabs actually come from underneath, so you need to remove the whole assembly. But it's easy enough to do. There's all these tabs here that you just need to push out of the way. And so because these were here and they were quite reachable with everything removed, I just left them here because they're a bit of a pain to put back. It's manageable quickly enough. It's just now I don't have to do it. So there you go. So we let that dry. I'm just gonna pat it maybe with a cloth just to get some of the bigger drops out of there, and I'll let this soak for about an hour or two. Come back. Some of the keys probably do need some form of retro brighting. You can see they've yellowed, but Ireland here is not really the best place to do retro brighting. What can take a few hours for some people will take a couple of days here of hopeful sunshine, and now it is March. It's not the right time, and I don't have a rig. I resisted making a ring for the longest time because it's one of those things I rarely need. I don't do a ton of restoration, so it'll be sitting there taking space. This is one of the moments where I probably need it, but at the same time, is it strictly needed? I'm okay with a little bit of yellowing on some keys. You can see the difference between I mean, the front panel disaster anyway doesn't really warrant for the for spending all that effort to clean some of the keys. So we'll have to live with it, and it'll be a reminder of its age, of my own stupidity trying to restore that front panel. So I think that's the last stuff. I forgot to mention, I did put this back together. It actually looks okay. So everything is working. We get that smooth scrolling, and I've set this to drive 1 and this to drive 2. It's screwed. This drive doesn't work. I think I have one floppy that it reluctantly is able to boot to, and I've tested some of the other floppies into a different MSX machine, and most of them, except 1 or 2, don't have issues. So this drive certainly has problem. Even if I disconnect this guy, set this as the main drive, drive A, and it just doesn't want to boot. It gets drive errors and all that, even after cleaning it. So there might be an issue with the boards in the drive or with the board itself. But look at, we have the Gotek, and this is actually very, very handy and practical. You just insert this. There's no need to put any file. This has been flashed with the firmware, so you just put your disk image straight into this USB stick. There's no need for that CFG config file that you have sometimes on the Amiga, and as soon as you power it, it will tell you, this little display is handy, it will tell you which disk image you're loading from. These are the so it's actually very handy, very visual, and there's no need now for anything else, if I'm honest. So this is a very, very nice solution. All right, so I got everything put back together. I gave this guy a thorough clean as well. It needed it. It was quite grimy and filthy, and it cleaned up really well. But like I said, you know, because of this disaster here, I'm not too worried though about, you know, cosmetics at this stage or making it look like brand new. So I won't be doing a retro bite on this, not right now anyway. So let's power this guy, and let me show you a few things. So I have my Gotek here. I have a cart inserted. It's a multi Konami cart where you can just select pretty much most, if not all, of the Konami game. A good one to test it with is Space Mambo. Sorry, let me take the controller here. I have this controller from a Panasonic controller, really, really nice and handy. And what we should be getting, there you go, is a perfectly smooth scrolling. Now the game, like I said, is not playing at 60 Hertz because for that it needs just extra modding and a change of ROM. Actually, you've changed the 3 ROMs, and then it'll also mean just installing the basic 3.0, because you know, if you're going through all that trouble, you want to do the full mod. So I won't be doing this now. I just wanted to get this working, and it is the hard drive. Interestingly, let me switch this off for now. The hard drive, interestingly, is doing some stuff, but even on discs that I know work and work on it, it's not loading properly every time, and sometimes it just skips. So it makes a noise. And it does try to load from it, but it's not. So I'm not, you know, really worried. I like the physical action of using the keyboard. I don't have that many software that is on tape, but that means I can use this instead. And the way this works, let me see what game this is set as. Let's load maybe the MSX Designer software. So if I type files here on here, it'll actually look into now the floppy image that's been selected on this, and it'll give me the directory here, and I can either run it from here or just press reset, which is now working. And oh yeah, and by the way, the power and the reset buttons are correctly connected and are now working. And now it's going to load it's a cool piece of software that actually to use to work on. I'm waiting for stuff like a mouse and graphic tablet and things like that that I've also ordered. So I think this is going to be it for this video. Man, I spent way too much time just messing with this tool, and I actually forgot how it works. Let's select color. See, we can select just making lines or something like that. How's this working again? I forget. I'll spend some more time, but we've got things like that. We got the operating system, the MS-DOS. Is it going to work from here? Yes. And booting is much faster, obviously, from the GoTech as well. There's a whole suite of utilities. One of them is what's called MS-DOS, which is just a CPM type DOS, very much like the PC DOS, and it has the same commands and things like that. So there you go. There you can have a directory. I don't think there's any folders in here. No, I don't think there is. Can we actually can we access? Yeah. Could we actually just read this floppy? Yeah, so it reads from this floppy, and interesting. So maybe I could launch stuff. What really I'm interested is just the former stuff. I have here MSX DOS on floppy drive. Very few of these original floppy. So the drive is working. It's just it's a bit fiddly and sometimes doesn't want to boot on some disk. I think this is going to be all for this video. I'm just happy that the unit is working. At least we fixed this to a state where it's not in 5 or 6 pieces and it's solid. It's not the best, but I'm gonna have to live with that. This is a unit I've always wanted. So I think next in this build I have a couple of VS80 monitors, so I'm gonna bring one down, but I'm gonna save that for another video because I want to actually service it. Very often these old monitors would need to reflow a lot of the contacts and maybe do a recap, although it's not strictly needed. They're usually very good. So, and it'll be a full new media system setup. Anyway, folks, before I ramble too much, thank you for watching. This was finally great to have. Thank you to my friend Max for sending me this unit, and delighted I finally have an NMS8250 MSX2 Plus essentially now. So for the next videos or next video, we're gonna look at the sorting out the monitor, the VS80, and then down the line we'll look into getting this machine run at 60 Hertz with MSX Basic 3 mod installed as well. So we're gonna reopen this at some stage, but for now everything is working as I want it to work, and delighted, absolutely delighted. Folks, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.